Two countries will receive U.S. vaccine donations this week, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said on Tuesday.
Both Guatemala and Vietnam will be receiving COVID vaccine doses from the Biden-Harris administration. Guatemala will receive 1.5 million doses of Moderna, and Vietnam will receive 2 million doses of Moderna.
As Indonesians braced for a surge in cases and lined up for their shots, last week the Biden administration also promised the country 4 million doses of the Moderna vaccine to be shipped via COVAX, the UN mechanism for vaccine sharing, as soon as possible. The U.S. has committed to donating 580 million doses worldwide, but it has failed to meet its target of sending out 80 million doses by the end of June. Psaki told VOA there are huge challenges.
Sometimes we have to work through legal barriers, we have to work through regulatory barriers. There are issues as it relates to materials needed to distribute these vaccines, and there are also even transportation issues with refrigeration needed as well. So we have noted, as we've allocated all these doses, as we committed to, that part of it is countries need to be ready to receive them.
The challenge begins with determining the appropriate vaccine. Most of the U.S. available stockpile consists of Pfizer and Moderna, which require ultra-cold storage that not all countries are prepared to handle.
Once they get there, we have to know what's the expiration date on the batches that we're sending. We have to know at the country level whether there's regulatory authorization for that particular vaccine to be used and that particular batch to be imported. And that's just really the beginning. We then have to make sure that the vaccines can get in cold storage all the way to the last mile, that the workforce is ready and the vaccinators are trained, and that they can get out.
Recipient countries must also coordinate the different vaccines they're getting from other providers, including COVAX, China, and Russia, which requires a lot of planning and complicated supply chain management.
It shouldn't be a surprise that shipping vaccines is complicated from a logistics perspective, and we are behind. We should have been working on this 6 months ago.
There's also the fact that most of the vaccine doses are simply going to wealthy nations.
By the end of this week, we'll have reached the mark of 160 million fully vaccinated Americans.
We have locked up in the United States and the G7 and other EU countries the global supply of the very thing to end this pandemic, and so far not sharing at nearly the pace or scale that we need to reach what's the global herd immunity that will make all of us safe.
So far, the U.S. has shipped only about half of the 80 million doses it aimed to distribute by end of June. At the White House, Patsy Widakuswara, VOA News.